Credit to Coach Hill and the Maryland Eastern Shore program. I do have a lot of respect for him and their program, and I've seen that for years, and I've obviously watched all their games this year, and he's a heck of a coach, and that's a good ball club that's been tested and played a very hard schedule up to this point. It's great to be back on the other side and to be in that win column tonight, especially after we've gone through some struggles here the last few weeks and dealing with some circumstances that we are pushing through, pressing forward, and finding ways to put this back together. But it's good to be back, in the win column after tonight's game.
Coach, what do you think happened in the second half for you guys? We were shooting way more efficiently in the second half than we were in the first half. What do you think changed the offense?
Well, I don't know if anything changes outside of what we talked about for 2 straight days, and to be honest, we talked about it in Florida as well. It doesn't mean it's going to work every time, but we talked about really hanging our hat on the defensive end. Defense and defensive rebounding. And if you do that, it opens opportunities to run. When you can get out and run, and I do believe we have a team that can play well in transition, that starts to get looks, and that happened in the second half. We started to get transition baskets. Well, when you start to get transition baskets, the defense starts to really collapse and get in the paint. They want to take away paint transition, so that might open a little more space on the perimeter. But make no mistake about it, the spark is the defense. If you play defense and rebound, that feeds energy to your offense, and I thought that's what happened in the second half as much as anything.
With all the injuries and 4 straight losses, what does a win like this do for the team's confidence?
Pretty much brings out, it boosts the team's confidence from Corey, Isaiah, and Tabo. Pretty much all the guys have to step up since we don't have Trevy and Jay Shane hurt right now. Eli, he's, progressing through his situation he has going on right now. But Luke comes in, he does what he do, he rebounds, and he's just he's a hard-working player, and I respect him for that. And Reed, he's going too. So everybody has, a boost of confidence from, people not being there right now. So, yeah.
Coach, kind of backtracking off that, Luke Davis, you led the team in rebounds, played a lot of big minutes for you tonight. Just what's it kind of have a guy like that come in a big moment with Eli's injury?
Yeah, it's huge. He does it every day in practice in terms of his effort and his energy. He's got such high energy. He's so coachable, and we coach him hard, and he knows that. But you know what? I think it's an opportunity I think he cherishes playing here at ECU in his hometown. And that's what we love about Luke, that he takes great pride in it. And he came out and he gives everything he has. He gives everything he has every possession. I want him to keep getting in great shape so he doesn't get so tired out there. But, you can't fault him at times because this was obviously a high-minute game for him, but he did it the last time he played for us. Just great energy, and we're going to keep building on that. But proud of Luke's game tonight on defense and the glass, as you said.
Corey Calker, as well as Isaiah Ending, had their best shooting nights. What did you see from them that was any different from other nights? Or what you like from them?
Well, I still think I thought both of those guys played great defense, and the reason I say that is when you can keep a team off a free throw line and they get 7 free throw attempts, they have some really good guards that could drive the basketball, and I thought Isaiah and Corey played very good defense. I thought our post defense was effective. Obviously, we were trapping. We were doing things like that, and I thought that was effective. And now when you get the ball through the hoop and Isaiah gets a layup in transition, or Corey gets a layup in transition, or Corey hit a 3 to start the game, you play defense and you're out in transition, it really, really boosts confidence. I know both those guys can score and shoot the basketball, and I've been saying it, and I've said it every time I've come in here. But sometimes it takes time for it to click, and I thought it clicked tonight for them.
Vito got some good minutes tonight. How have you seen him progress through 8 games?
Same as we talked about Luke. I know he hasn't seen the floor quite as much, but he takes advantage of his opportunities. And tonight we went with that shuttle in, 2 out post play. We didn't have Eli in there. We were trying to keep our guys fresh. Maryland Eastern Shore has a front line that's really good. They're actually top 15 or so in the nation of throwing the ball in the post. Post touches, traditional post touches, they are one of the top 10 to 15 teams in the country. So that was a huge emphasis for us going into this game. And I thought Vito did a really good job defensively coming in, Reed, Luke, Gio, but you also had to guard shooters. They started 2 post players that could shoot the basketball. And, that's a real challenge when you got real big guys. So I thought Vito did really well, and we need him to keep getting better, just to keep growing. He's a freshman.
What kind of confidence can the team learn from getting a win like this? They were behind early, but then they had that second half. And what do you think they can learn?
I don't want to speak on the confidence of that, but I would speak of, look, they got out to a 10-1 start. And, the first 3 minutes of the game, and I thought after the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, our defense really tightened up. And some of it was we missed some early looks around the rim to start. It got them out. They made a couple threes to start the game. This is basketball, but you can't allow – I don't care if you get up 10-1 or you're down 10-1. If anything, it's not about confidence, but it's learning. This is a 40-minute game. There's a bunch of 4-minute segments within the game. And within that, you just have to stay true to your identity and what your game plan was. We got to make adjustments. We'll make adjustments. But the guys stayed true to that and more of just kind of kept chopping the wood. And I thought that's what led to a game that ended the way it did.
Coach, do you expect Eli, to return here into short time, or is this a longer-term injury?
Unfortunately, I don't have an answer on that. I wish I did. But, it's kind of we'll find out more as days go on.
Coach, any update on Jay Woodard's timeline, or if there's any chance he can come back?
I do think he's getting closer. He has been doing individual workouts and jumping in some light stuff during practices, but he's not there in live play yet. But I think he's getting closer.